All right, everyone. Welcome. Pipit, Diaz, Pak Wido, Donald. How are you guys? Hi.
Hello,
Fine.
good afternoon.
Okay, so we have like how many books for? Let me check on my 5 books, right? Gusti is not here yet. We have Pipit with civil rights, Donald with thinking in systems. I like this. Um, and well, my book is Unsafe Thinking, and I think the goddess is from Paramita. So since we only have like three of us with the books, maybe we can
Maybe Diaz want to share something.
oh, yes, you want to do
I
you have a
have,
book to present?
yeah, I have the book to present, but since I'm the last to confirm, so only if you guys have time, then I will present the book.
Okay, I will be the
Mhm,
last then if the time is still
mhm.
available. Yeah. So, as usual, please introduce the book that you're reading, why you read that, what's interesting about the book, and what can we learn from that, or if anything that you find the book uh, not interesting. For example, if the book I'm reading right now is actually nothing new in the concept or something like that. So, Dia, say, why did you decide to read? The title of the book, what it's about, yes. Okay, let's start from Donald then, because Donald, I think, is the most ready. Donald, the book is
Okay,
Thinking in Systems, Part 2.
yes. Thank you, Mbak Imu, for the time. Thank you, everyone. So last month I already shared this book, but I didn't finish it yet. The title of the book is Thinking in Systems. I will follow the template from yes questions. The title of the book is Thinking in Systems. What it's about? It's about how to think or view things as systems. Why did you decide to read the book? Because I'm interested in how to improve the way we think, how to think. I think that is a very important ability to have. And this book is about system, and there are so many systems around us. By reading this book, I hope to be able to better understand the world. What are your key takeaways from the book? So I will focus more on the new things that I've read in the past month because last month I already shared a bit. But for a review, there are several elements in a system. First, you have the stock. You have the elements, and then you have the interconnections, and then you have the goal of the purpose. So the elements of a system, the actors inside, and then the interconnection, like the communication between them, and then the goal of the purpose. And then there are several terms also. First is stock. Stock is something that store value. And then there is flow. Flow is something that adds value to the stock and it also takes value away. So these are terms for system thinking, and these terms are helpful to figure out systems in the world. For example, the savings that we have is a stock, and then the income that we get is an inflow, and then the spending that we have is outflow. And based on these simple things, we can build more and more complex systems. For today, I would like to share on because this is the second part, I will not repeat the first part. I will focus on the second part, and this is about how to find leverage points. Leverage points are the points in a system that can make the most difference if we change it. Usually, we want to intervene a system, we want to change how it works, we want to change the results or the outcome, and The best way to do so is by finding leverage points, the points in the system that will make the most difference. And this book gives some tips on how to find leverage points, and some of them are counterintuitive. I will pick one of them that is surprising to me. Usually, when we read economy, we want to maximize the growth. But this book says oftentimes it is better to slow down the growth. Why? Because it will enable other loops, other feedback loops, like technology, law, education, to catch up with the economic growth. Otherwise, the others will not be able to catch up. It is easier to slow down the growth than to increase the speed of the other loops. Actually, there are more terms used. Economic growth is called reinforcing loops because it will grow faster and faster. And the other loops is balancing loop because it will make things more balanced. So in summary, I think it is a good book to help me understand how the world works because so many things around us are systems. Of course, there are so many more in the book, but I cannot share them all. But in a sense, this is a book that will help us think and view things as a system. So it is not as simple as it seems because there are interconnections, there are behaviors that are unexpected, and this book will help us to recognize these things and to find the best way to intervene to get the outcome that we want. Is there a question that you would like to discuss? No? Any question from the
Okay.
audience? So
Anyone
that's
with
all.
questions? I'll start with one as a warm up. As we know, we have so many what framework or theory on thinking or thinking skills, and there are like critical thinking, in creative thinking, for example, and this one is system thinking. Where does it fall in the book? Does it also mention or discuss on where does this system thinking falls into like the level in comparison to like critical thinking or creative thinking?
Thank you for the question. Actually, this book is the popular version of a course at MIT.
I
The name of
see.
the course is System Dynamics, and it is very mathematical because it uses computers and mathematics. Everything is using equation,
Mm,
and this book is the popular version of it. It is similar to Stephen Hawking, the physicist, wrote a very popular book, A Brief History of Time. It is actually a distillation, a popular version of physics, of modern physics. Modern physics itself is very complex with a lot of equations, but Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time, is the popular version of it that most people can understand. This book is like that. So it
mm,
is not from psychology, it is actually from MIT. So very mathematical,
mm.
but there is no equation in this book because it is the popular version.
Okay, that's good. Anyone with questions about system thinking or this book? So it's sort of like a popular book. Usually that kind of book, they come with some illustrations or anecdotes or stories. Is there any stories from the book that is still stick in your mind?
Well, the stories are mostly to illustrate the systems.
Mm,
Yeah, the stories that stick to my mind is self-organization. Actually, it is not actually a story, but a concept. Concept. A system that will thrive over the long term has the ability to be resilient.
mm,
And one way it can be resilient is by self-organizing. So it can organize itself, it can adapt to new situation.
mm,
And the practical takeaway is if you want to have a self-organizing system, you must lose control. And that's why so many countries or governments or companies, they do not want this because the top management will lose control because you will have to allow for experimentation and for errors to happen, for failures to happen. But that is how to have self-organizing system. So I think that is not a story, but that is the
Mm,
concept that is an important one, I think, for me, because it means that we need to have the mindset of experimenting with new things.
mm,
We want to, and also it means we need to have more raw materials. It reminds me of the book that Diaz like Prince. Yeah. So you have a lot of materials, and then you experiment with this, and because of this, you will be able to adapt to new situation. I think that is the application for individuals.
mm. I
You can
see.
organize yourself by having more raw materials and by experimenting.
Thanks, Nono. There's a question from Diaz. Is there any examples or stories about economy or transportation since Donald is Nadim? Yeah, you look like.
Well, there is no story that sticks to my mind because I just try to understand the concepts.
Mm,
It talks about economic growth in general, but there is no, this is not that kind of book. So I understand that there are so many kinds of books, like Malcolm Gladwell books with so many
mm,
stories and some
yeah.
concepts. This is not that kind of book because this is a distillation from a very mathematical concept. So there are not that many stories. This is not a story-based book. This is a concept book. There are some examples, but they are not stories. Instead, the author just gave example like fictitious example, thermostat, and then the fishing, and then oil, but not real stories, because this is just illustration for the mathematical concepts. So I
Okay.
cannot give a good story from this book.
No worries. Any other questions, everyone? Anyone?
Yeah, I have one question, Maimo.
Mm-hmm.
Donald said that this book is actually asking us to slow our productivity and to lose control. So that's like the opposite, the antithesis of what we've been taught. What is the benefit again, Donna? Could you repeat when we slow down and reduce our productivity and we lose control, mean that we are welcoming the messy organizations and the unstructured SOP? What are the benefits? And is there any guarantee that it will benefit an organization or our life instead of having higher productivity and organized SOP or organization? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So those are two separate topics. The first topic is about slowing down, actually not productivity, it is about economic growth, so nationwide. And the second one is about self-organization. So there are two topics. For the first one, it is not for individual, but the illustration is for the nation. Usually the economy wants to have maximum economic growth, but economic growth is a reinforcing loop, that is the term, meaning it will go faster and faster, compounding. It will go exponential. And you need to have other balancing loops. Balancing loops are loops that keep the society, in this case, in balance. So, for example, you need to have law, education, because without this, and infrastructure, without this, the economic growth might have adverse effect. If the
Mm,
society is not ready, it can be used by foreign countries, for example, because the human resource is not ready yet. So how to solve this? Usually the solution is to speed up these other things, like speeding up education. But actually that is difficult to do because of something else that is very important in the system, that is delay. whenever you try to change something, there is a delay. And the delay is inevitable and it is very difficult to reduce. Therefore, it is much easier to reduce the strength of the reinforcing loop, which is the economic growth, so that these other loops can keep up. So that is
Mm.
the first topic, the economic growth. The second one about self-organization, it is applicable to nations and to companies and to individuals. For nations, actually capitalism, it is not in the book, but I conclude it myself. Capitalism is a form of self-organization because you let the market do most of the things, not all, and then people can, and the actors can allocate resources based on market strength. So this is actually self-organization. Another example is evolution in science. Evolution is not self-organization. Another example is for a company. If the company allows side projects, experiments with new products, that is also self-organization. Amazon, Jeff Bezos likes to do this. This is not from the book. Again, the book doesn't have stories, but this is just from my memory. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, they have a lot of experimentation and a lot of failed products.
Mm.
And for individuals, we can do this by learning many things. Actually, this book club is an example because we learn from different books. So it will give us more materials, more diverse, and then we can try to do something about it. Experiment, maybe we create a side project, something like that, and we can adapt ourselves. Yeah, that's all.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Donald. Any other, maybe one more question if you have one? Okay, if not, thank you. Big round of applause for Donald. Okay, next. Because we don't have Pipit here, we can ask Mita.
I am here, but let
Oh,
me
you
go last.
are. Okay. All right, Pipit, please.
Oh no, I
Siko.
thought I will go last, but I'm here.
Okay. All right then. Mita, you go first with your goddess.
I'm going first. Okay. Oh, okay. I thought I'm last. What happened to the others? Like Mbak
Wait.
Imong and Diaz and Pipit. Okay,
Pipit
I
will go
will.
last. She said that.
Okay, so I will send you the first chapter of my book to give you an idea what it looks like. Just 1 second, because I thought I was gonna go last.
Okay, in the
Just one.
meantime, while we're waiting, DS, what's the book about? What's your book about?
My book is actually Indonesian book. It's 4 bulan di Amerika by Hamka.
Mm, interesting. This is the
The
Hamka Hamka, you mean,
Hamka.
or
Yeah,
Hamka?
our Hamka.
That's the
Buya
first
Hamka.
title, Buya Hamka. Ini.
Our Hamka, the one that Professor Hamka.
Iya, Buya Hamka.
Think so. Yeah, he's Buya Hamka. I forgot his
This
first
is the
name
very
though.
first time I heard the title of his book.
Mhm. Yeah,
Tenggelamnya kapal Van der Weekend di bawah lindungan Ka'bah and whatnot.
because I know his full name is Haji Abdul Malik Haji Abdul Malik Karim Amrullah Hamka.
Yeah.
But the I'm not sure and I haven't figured it out why the Buya is in front of his name. So
Buya is actually apa ya panggilan ke the
okay.
ya
Dan Datu.
Datuk Buya. Buya itu panggilan
Mm-hmm.
kehormatan for uh,
Mm-hmm.
people with wisdom.
Okay. That means that this is our Buya Hamka.
Yeah. Well, that will be interesting. Mita, are you finished?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm taking a picture of the outline here. Are you just wondering if you have seen on the WhatsApp group the first chapter of my book.
I haven't, to tell you the truth.
Okay,
Belum.
because I just sent it to the WhatsApp for the first chapter of my book, and
Okay.
also for the outline of the book. It's very short, only for uh, chapters. But if somebody sees the first chapter in the WhatsApp group, does somebody see it?
I'm just reading it, but this is too long to read now. Can
Okay.
you maybe just explain the book review?
All right. So thank you very much for the opportunity. So this book is different from the previous ones because it's gonna be a fiction. This is the first chapter of the book to give you an idea what the flow is going to be like. So if you see that the title is Redefining Beauty and Power, and it takes place in Melbourne in 2015, and the person here, the main character, is named Fatima. So this book is about Fatima's story. The goddess is about her spiritual journey or soul journey to become authentic and also to redefine what has been taught to her since she was a kid, what beauty means, what power means to her, and also to the world. And she is questioning critically, and she is contemplating her life long journey in this world. So finally, at the end, she will explain her long life journey in a collection of poems. So if you have time to read this chapter, the first one, in your free time, please do so, and please let know what you think about the first chapter. And also in the WhatsApp group, I have written like four outlines, four chapters in the book. The first one is this one. It's called Redefining Beauty and Power, the one that I just texted you. And the second one is Stories of Remarkable Women. So it's gonna be Fatima experience meeting other women in her lives and how they are remarkable and how she thinks that these women are beautiful and powerful in their life. And the next one is Becoming Authentic. It's about the climax of her journey in life, like what's the positive, the most positive, the most memorable one. So I'm gonna share my idea. It's still blurry, it's still tentative. It's gonna be her journey to Paris, where she experiences beautiful culture, museums, food, love stories, the affairs, and everything. And at and also, after that, before the poem, I'm gonna talk about the anti-climax of her journey. I don't know which one yet. I have several options, but it's gonna be really, really dramatic because it's supposed to be closing the book. Like the opening is a bit dramatic, and also the closing is gonna be a dramatic. But I don't know which stories. I haven't picked out yet. The scenes, the venue, the country, or the city, or what is the story that makes her life is going down the hill and things like that. However, at the end, as a collection of poems, the poems are describing the golden nuggets and the wisdoms that Fatima learned through her lifelong journey to become the goddess. So, although she hit the rock bottom in becoming authentic after having the climax and the high climax stories in her life, finally she can turn the lemon into lemonade. I'm borrowing by Imung Hikma's word. She turned the lemon into lemonade. So she learned the beauty of life beyond the pain of hitting the rock bottom. And she turned the bad stories into wisdom, and into her superpower. That's the idea. So that's all I have right now. And give the call back to Mbak Imung Hikmah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mita. Congratulations, first of all, for your new book. And we wish you, and I especially wish you all the success with the process of writing the book. Any questions from the audience? No, because well, the book is not here yet, and no, we haven't read yet, or it's still in your brain probably, Amita. Um, but I would like to know what is the objective of your writing this time?
Okay, the objective is actually because I have a goal. I will produce one book every year. So that's my productivity goal, Donald. And I don't want to slow down in terms that I will do it every other year. No, no, no. Every year I will produce one book, and the genre is in spirituality genre and self-development. And the difference is this time is going to be a fiction coming from the third person angle instead of talking like the generic self-help book. So it's gonna be like the Paulo Coelho, my favorite author style, where he goes somewhere, but the story inspired by true stories of the people I know in my life and also my personal story. So it's a mix. However, the reader should pick up the lessons by themselves. So I'm not going to teach it. This is how to love yourself, like what I've done in my previous books. So my story is the audience can enjoy the stories and reflect and find what resonates with them in this book. Just like the Paulo Coelho's book, like The Alchemist, The Spy, etc. He really inspires me. Thank you, Maimong.
Oh, well, that would be interesting. Congratulations, Mita. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Any comments, any feedback, please give them here to me directly, or you can text me later on the WhatsApp group. Thank you.
Donna, you wanted to say something?
Yes. Actually, I want to ask about the writing process,
Mm,
if
yeah.
if you don't mind. So it's interesting that Mbak Mita will aim to write one book a year. So how do you discipline yourself to write a book? Like, for example, is there a target word count every day? Few hundreds word, or how do you write one book a year? The process.
That's a very good idea. I mean, a question, Donald. The first thing I do is to set up my book launch party. So if I already know when I have to do my book launch party, that means I have to have at least the digital printed versions. Yeah. So that's the goal. And this book launch party that I have been planning is in July, maybe mid of July. So I know that by that time I already have the digital printed versions, not the offset printed versions, because I can do the offset anytime. And daily, I I just say in 1 week I have to type at least one chapter. It doesn't have to be the whole chapter getting done, but at least I'm either starting it or in the middle of it or finishing one chapter. So it has one in 1 week. That's the goal. Yeah. And then after I finish everything, especially the chapter 4 is a bit difficult because I have to come up with several poems. So that comes in between. I already got one poems done, so I might have to find more poems. So it's a continuous for in 1 week I have to do my book at least one day, fully focusing on my book. That's it. I don't make myself have to write between 10 to 4 like I used to because one of the requirement for me to get one book done is to read 20 books. Or if they're not books, probably 10 books with 5 podcasts, 5 YouTube, something like that. So I have to research for this book. I cannot just write books without research. And I also have to research by interviewing people, getting to know people in depth with their secrets, with their crying, with their laughter. I have to experience them myself. So the book becomes alive, not just textual research. So that's why it takes a while. Not every day I'm in front of the computer typing, because most of the time I'll be reading books. And that's why I'm here. I'll be listening to you guys talking about books that I cannot read, so I can ask you questions and learn something from that. If I can apply your wisdom, I will apply that in my life. So that's how I write books. Thank you, Donald, for your question.
Thanks, Mita. Great insight. So,
Thank
Donald, next
you.
time we're all going to, have one book, maybe every 2 years or 5 years for me. Yeah. Good one. Thanks, Mita. Thanks, Donald. Okay, a big round of applause for Mita. Diaz, now it's your book. Is
Okay.
so the book that you have, is it like printed book or
Print
printed?
it
Okay.
Indonesia by Mizan Publisher. If you have ever heard about this particular
Yeah,
publishers, it's
certainly.
mostly releasing books about Islamic books mostly, but Um, surprisingly, this is not something to do, I mean, it's not really related to religion, but more to experiences about living performance in America for Hamka.
Like travel
So,
journey notes, yeah,
mhm, mhm.
or diary.
So, so, blur. Wait. Okay,
Put it
show
in
the book
front of
maybe.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one.
Mhm.
This is 4 bulan di Amerika, and actually I got this book because it's a bonus book because I bought like 2 to 3 calendars
Mhm.
on this on this new year, just at the beginning of 2026, and this is the bonus book that I received from this particular e-commerce. So I read it. Actually, I read it a long time ago, but since the book has 2 parts, the first part and the first part where Hamka was in America, and then the second part is what he reflects on based on what he experienced while he was doing this duty in America. So the decision why I read this book because it's a bonus book, so why not? That's the main reason. And then the key takeaway from the books is it's very interesting to have someone with a very particular background in as a Islamic scholar, and also um, I think we can call it one of the most the wisest mind back then in Indonesia. It was in the 1940s, 1950s. So it's very interesting to have like a sort of travel or travel vlogging experience written down in a book. And it was the journey or the trip, it happened on 1952. So imagine like 50, 50 years back, what was America look like based on someone from Indonesia. And mind you all that 1952, at that time, Indonesia was not even one decade. Yeah, we were independent on 1945, so it's not even we're not even adolescents yet at that time. So it's a brand new experience. And then the way he describes all the journeys to all 4 big cities in America, to Washington, New York, LA, and Chicago, it's kind of it's a very eye-opening actually because at that time New York was already very busy, and then Washington was already very, very um very politic, very demanding in the sense of trying to get more and more diverse actually at that time. So Hamka himself was trying to. I think it's a good thing to have all these diversities back when I'm going home back to Indonesia, something like that. So only the one thing that I don't say I hate the book, but I would like to have more his insights based on cities that he traveled to, and also um, I would like to have him more explaining about what are the things that he shared to America at that time, because 1952 compared to nowadays 2026 there are lots of things different by now, but I would like to know more about the material or the contents that he shared actually at that time. But it's more into self-reflection, which also I cannot hate it anyway. So I think that's it. That's what I can share about the book. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Diaz. Any questions from any of you guys? I'll start then. Because this is like a book about travel. Do you find anything that is interesting from his story there that you find it unique or unusual or, you know, out of mind kind of experience?
Okay, so what I found unique is actually when he mentioned about his meeting with to I don't know which part of America, but he's meeting with one of the leaders of Mormon, and at that time there were jokes about, you can marry more than one, huh? Something like that. So it's it's one thing in common at that time when Hamka tries to speak with the Mormon. He was trying to, he was trying to open up a discussion. He was trying to open up to uh things that they can learn from each other. But the opening part is actually about wives, about ladies. So it's I mean, it's pretty, it's pretty shocking, but not that shock. I know it. So, and then from there, then they were discussing uh about the religion, and then also about the how the states see them as someone or some groups who believes more in God. So then the discussion continues to make a comparative religion actually. So, but the most thing, I mean, the first thing that he both of them mention is about ladies. So yeah, ladies is, I mean, where can ladies go without being the main discussion actually? So yeah.
Thank you, Diaz.
Thank you,
Any
Tanya.
questions from any of you?
I want to give comments to Diaz. Uh, because of the Mormon, you emphasize the commonalities between Mormon and Muslim and Islam, yeah, that about polygamy, yeah, because I think I just want to say that it's too sad that as a Muslim myself, that we always talk about polygamy like that's the center of our religion. And I think that's what happens to Mormon too. I think it's too sad that whenever people meet Mormon followers, they always think about polygamy as like the center of the religion. Because I have my personal experience working for USAID, and believe it or not, the spouses of their employees are Mormon, and even the employees are Mormon, and even their friends, and also some of the staff of the Mexican embassies and other people, they're Mormon. And I went to church to go for their mass. And even my son, Isan, and I, we were invited to their Christmas party at that time. So my personal experience about Mormon, let me clarify that they're highly intelligent. Okay. So when they discuss about their religion, they're discussing the religion from a very knowledgeable, like Muhammadiyah, uh, kind of classes, kind of points of view. Every morning, like 6 a.m. in the morning, this woman, they have a class in the church to discuss about ontology. Ontology is a philosophy class in a religion, philosophy of religion class. It's not easy, but this woman, these spouses of the USAID, they learn about that every morning. So, and they're very, very concerned about education. And they open classes underneath the church. The church has two levels, upstairs and downstairs. Upstairs is for mass, downstairs are classes for everything. I took their class once after the mass for women discussions. We discuss about the Bible, about one of the verse, and also they invite men afterwards, and we discuss about our spiritual experience. Even they provide English courses for refugees that are supposed to be taken care by UNHCR and by the USAID, but they don't have money anymore. So the church provides those free classes for the refugees. So I think we need to correct the perception. I think the commonalities between Muhammadiyah and the Mormon are not in polygamy, yeah, but it's more in
Uh,
knowledge concern. Okay,
yes,
back
Mita,
to
it's
you.
yeah, I'm just going to just put my opinion there because of the question. And Diaz just, mentioned something, a story that happened with Hamka there. I think this is not underestimating religion or Mormon or anything like that. So I hope this clarifies. So nothing like that. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Exactly, exactly. I think
yeah.
Buya Hamka was just trying to break the ice, but I just want to people why Buya Hamka is interested in Mormon and why Mormon is interested in Muhammadiyah because they have something in common. They're really concerned about education in religion, yeah, especially about the philosophy of religion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mita.
If I
Okay.
mo,
Any other question from audience? Well, if not, Diaz, I
Sorry,
would love
the,
to.
the only reason
Yeah.
I don't have questions for everyone because I cannot really hear.
Yeah.
But so that's the reason. But
Yeah.
for
I
some
was
reason I can hear
wondering because
Baimung. I cannot hear anyone else.
you always have questions usually. No worries, Pipit. If you're driving, just drive safely. Okay.
I'm a passenger.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Diaz. A big round of applause for Diaz. Or if you want to
Yay,
send your
thank you
love.
very much.
And we have Gusti. Hi, Gusti.
Baimung, is it okay if I start because my battery is probably not gonna last long?
Okay. So you want to go first, Pipit?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so last a few days ago, I shared my photo with the book I'm about to share called Civil Rights because I have written the book, so I don't have it with me, but I have the note here, so I can just read it off the my note. So let me go with the question. The title of the book and what it's about. So it's the next in the series of Witness to History. The title is Civil Rights, and although civil rights has universal meaning, but in this case, it's
Hmm.
centered in the U.S. The center of the book is the U.S. history of civil rights, starting from the beginning, actually, from the first their slavery happened in the U.S. in 1860 till the last the black people get the equal rights and segregation was abolished. So this is the range of the book. So the reason why I read it because I'm an OCD, and this is the last three books in the Witness to History series. And then the next one is the Great Depression, and another one is I forgot what it is, but yeah. So you have to be patient. There's another three coming, two coming. Particularly for Donald, he doesn't like this book. Okay, so let's go with the first one. So maybe sharing some factual information. For example, the first town that slaves arrived called Jamestown in Virginia in 1619. It was only 10 years after the first English colony was set up in the US. So basically 10 years was such a short time. And also considering they could only do the the transportation between Europe and America was only done by boat, by ships, right? So basically, 10 years was considered such a short time, quite fast for them to thought of the idea of bringing the slaves to the US. Only 10 years. And then when they first arrived for the first 200 years, it was actually illegal for the white people to teach black people to read and write. So there are people who they call it the indoor slaves and outdoor slaves, right? So the outdoor slaves are those who work in the field and things like that, doing a rough day job. But then also there's indoor slaves, those who became nannies, who became servants, cooks, something like that, right? So a lot of these indoor slaves developed good relationship with their masters, particularly when they became the nanny. So of course they became a lot of the white kids were attached to their black nannies, basically. So then naturally they wanted them to read stories together, or something like that. But if you got caught teaching these black people or black slaves how to read or write, you actually had to pay a huge amount of fines because it was considered illegal. And then finally in 1860, so 1718, around 250 years after that, the slavery was outlawed in the northern states. So it took 250 years to abolish slavery in the northern states only. 250 years. And then if you are familiar with the term the North Star, anyone familiar with the term North Star? No? North Star, Bintang Utara. Okay. So I was wondering why North Star is usually considered as the direction. Usually it's famous among sailors. If they want to know where the north is, they try to find this North Star. But as it turned out, the term North Star as the guiding star was actually coined during slavery time. So those who tried to escape the southern states that were still legal to have slavery, they underground railroad, they call it, not a real railroad, but it's like a series of safe houses where they can go and to the next safe house and things like that until reaching the free states in the north. They had this star, the North Star, as their guiding star. So this is actually started in the slavery time, not started by the sailors, because it's famously done by sailors. But as it turned out, it was started by this underground railroad. And then the Civil War happened in 1861 until 1865. That means it's 40 years until finally the President Abraham Emancipation Proclamation that basically ended the slavery also in the South. And after the Civil War ended, they did the reparation or reconstruction era where they tried to rebuild whatever that was destroyed during the Civil War. And then, however, the president that time still was not um, trusting the southern states. So they had to place a lot of soldiers in the south for several years because they were afraid that the southern whites that time were still trying to regain the control, basically. So even though officially the civil war ended, but the northern soldiers were still present in the south for several years. And then after the president pulled out the Union soldiers from the south and go back to the north, the southern people did not waste any time. And then they started to implement this law called Jim Crow law. Probably you have heard of it before. Jim Crow law is basically a set of laws that ban Black people from many things, from owning property, from taking good jobs, from testifying against white people in courts. And then they also introduced a system of segregation. So if you can imagine, they were not even allowed to be a witness in court if the one being accused is white people. So even to that point of um, unfair law. And then after that, however, in 1896, the Supreme Court decided to end the Jim Crow era law. So that took them around 96, 77 to 96. How many years is that? 19. Took them 19 years to repeal this law in the South. And finally, Black people can be free except for the segregation. Okay, so at that time, segregation was still happening. And then finally, there was this lawsuit where the first thing that was desegregated at that time was education. So basically, a lot of things were separated between white and Black people, right? So the first thing that was sued and reached the Supreme Court was actually in education. The first, but the one that resisted the combining between white and Black and white people was actually Arkansas, the Arkansas state. So there's this governor of Arkansas called Orval Faubus. Even though he has been instructed by President Eisenhower that time to allow Black people to attend this public school with the white people there, he refused to allow that to happen. He even called the National Guard or something. Yes, the National Guards to refuse this Black kids to enter the public school. And then President Eisenhower then sent out the federal troops even to guard this online Black students who were supposed to be allowed to join this public school. So they call it the Little Rock Nine, had to go to school being guarded by the federal troops every day for 6 months until finally the state of Arkansas gave up and allowed them to just go to the school. And three things that I found very profounding is I want to research further about it is Martin Luther King Jr., MLK. I'm sure you have heard of him, right? He was chosen as the leader of civil rights movement at the age of 26. I actually did not know that he became the leader of the civil rights movement at the age of 26. So I wanted to find out how he became the symbol of all of this civil rights movement. He was chosen as the leader at such a young age. There's something that's gotta be he did or something like that, right? So this is even before the I have a dream speech or all of that, right? So I wanted to know why they chose him, although obviously it was the right choice. Second thing that I found interesting is that John F. Kennedy was the one submitting the civil rights bill to the Congress that time. The Civil Rights Bill is the guaranteed the equal treatment of Black people in all walks of, in all fields of life. But then he did not get to see it because a few moments after submitting the Civil Rights Bill to the Congress, he got assassinated. Uh, so then the one who continued the effort to get it passed was actually the Vice President, Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ. And then finally, he was the one who made the Civil Rights Act pass on the Senate. Yeah. And what was funny because LBJ himself was actually from the South. This is from the southern state who was supposed to support all of this segregation and stuff. So, oh, by the way, there's a new movie about MLK I want to watch. And there's also a movie about LBJ if you're interested. And I would like to end the summary with the quote by Abraham Lincoln, which I thought was quite profound and was interesting because I've never heard of this quote before. But he said, "As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master." So I think that's really good. It's like another way of saying the golden rule, like don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you. But then think if you don't want to experience to become a slave, then don't be a master of other people who became your slaves. So I think that's really good. The quote of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so that's my summary.
Well, thank you, Pipit. It's quite interesting. In 1800, 1900s, slavery still exist, and in comparison, in our country, at you know, I think we were more advanced in a way. Yeah. Okay, well, that was really good. Thank you, Pipit. Any questions for Pipit? Anyone?
Uh,
Mm. Yes,
I
yes.
I wanna ask not about Pipit's book, but what time does Pipit will need the Zoom back? Is it 4:30
Mm.
Bali time or 4:30
Yeah,
Jakarta? 4:30
yeah.
We
Surabaya and
still have
Jakarta time.
25 more minutes.
Okay.
How many more minutes?
25.
Oh,
Michael and Surap
25.
song.
Okay. So we still have one more. I think it should be enough for Gusti for the last review for the book. Any questions? But thank you so much, Diaz. That was really considering. Donald, you have any questions?
It's quite clear, already complete from Bipit.
Yeah. Pipit is always like what you said.
The one question I want to ask, Pipit already say she doesn't know yet why Martin Luther became the leader at 26. So yeah, we will wait for that.
Looking forward. Yeah. Okay. If there's no question, thank you so much, Pipit. Big round of applause. Now, last but not least, Gusti's book. What's the book title? I think it was like
Okay. Okay, so
yeah,
going to
this. This is
kelihatan
paduan
kelihatan nggak?
tanpa suara yang didengar.
Ya, kelihatan.
Okay,
Can
interesting.
you see it? Can you see it? Because it is not shown on my screen.
Put it in front of you, right in
in
front
front
of
of your
you.
face,
You're here.
in
No,
front
no,
of
you're
your
gone.
nose.
You cannot see it. Wait.
Put it in front of your nose.
Yeah,
That's the
like this.
that's the tips.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. So this is the paduan tanpa suara yang didengar or PTSD ya. So I want to present this book because I'm part of the editing and translating team of this book, and it has just published this April, this end of April. The writers are from Generasi Jiwa Empati Gen A. So like I have this senior in Malang State University. Her name is Nurmianti. Mbak Pipit might know her. And she made like an organization to educate people about mental health, named the Monajopsis. And this is one of the products of the organization. So this book is about inner child, wounded inner child, and it consists of it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. Yeah, there are 14 stories here, and one of them is written by Rian Adriandi, the director of Jumbo. So they managed to work together with him. And the first time Mbak Anti gave the script to me, well, she gave me 3 scripts, and I remember of them. It was really hard to forget about the scripts because they were really extraordinary. The first script was about the murder of Kiai, the murder of Islamic scholars in 90s, in 90s. And I was like so like dumbfounded, like this is a real story, Mbak. And she said like, yeah, I created the story by myself, she said. And I was like, what? The story was told from third point of view, not first point of view. So I'm still wondering whether the writer of the story is the killer himself, or he told the story about other people, other person. In this story, the reason why the man killed the guy was because when he was a kid, he was sexually assaulted by his his Quranic teacher. Yeah, so like he went to the TPA, to the Taman Pendidikan Al-Quran, and then sexually assaulted by the teacher there, and he didn't tell his parents, and instead he went into rebellious space, like he didn't want to go to the TPA, but his parents didn't understand, because he didn't tell them anything. So yeah, and the reason why he actually acted like that was uh, open in the end of the book, and I was so like startled, like wow, so painful and so horrific. And the second script I received from Barbie to edit, it was about the story of prostitution. Yeah, so it was a girl that well, the mother of the girl was a prostitute, and then after the mother couldn't sell her body anymore, then she sold her daughter's body to those men. And it also like so painful for me, like how could a mother did that how could a mother do that to her own daughter in order to survive. It's really painful. And but not all of them are like heavy, like murderers or prostitution, no. But some of it's like a simple, but it's really effect. Yeah, the effect to the child was really intense. Yeah, like there was a story about a girl, about elementary school girl that was bullied by her teacher and her classmates, even her seniors, just because she did the act. to the school. So the teacher asked the students to bring eggs, and well, she didn't mention why they needed to bring those eggs. Maybe she just wanted to use it by herself. But this kid then told her parents, and her parents felt like it's nonsense. Yeah, like there is no obligation for you to bring any egg for your teacher, and then they rejected it. And then the parent of this kid reported it to the authority, and it was published in the newspaper, and the teacher was really angry, and then she unleashed her anger to this kid, yeah. And then after that, this kid moved into another school, yeah. So yeah, and uh what really struck me after I reading all of the story of this book is like how these adults, well, they were the perpetrator. I call them the perpetrators because I think that what they did was really cruel, yeah. Also, the perpetrator were wounded adults, yeah. Like they didn't treat one, and then they hurt the children around them. So like it was really painful, yeah. Like how those kids should have been protected, should have felt safe, but they were like threatened by the existence of their own parents, their own teachers. It's really struck me. Yeah. And but it's not just about the gloomy parts, yeah, because in before the story starts, there is a trigger warning in each of the story. So like there is like the story content of consists of suicidal story and self-harm, something like that. So we warn the reader what kind of story they will read. And also after the story ends, there is a empathetical response written by a psychotherapist from London, Tracy Lee Giorgio. She wrote her view towards each of the story in a really empathetic tone, yeah. So like she wrote a warming letters to the writers of the story. And what was unique from this book is also uh, in uh, in the last part of this book, there is a grounding technique. So like if the readers felt like they are triggered by some issues they read here, they can apply the grounding technique in this book, yeah. And yeah, and what I like from this book is the story of Rian Adriandi, yeah, like when he stated that the journey of healing is like renovation, like renovating building. It's not always clean. It's dusty, scattered, and maybe we will be shocked by the mice we found behind the wall, but it's for the better condition. Yeah. So yeah, healing process is not always smooth, but it is necessary for our own development. Yeah. So this book is does not just selling about people suffering triple trauma, but also giving sense of hope. And we hope that more people who read this book will like realize that it is really important for them to acknowledge their own wound and then go to therapist if it is really needed, so they will not hurt any next generation. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Gusti. I think it's very interesting book, but it's heavy in a way. And just listen to this, it's also make me feel heavy inside. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So, any questions from any of you guys? I think first of all, for me, is I put my salute to you to read the book and to to also edit the book because somehow what we read is also influence us in so many ways. So it's I'm curious about the grounding techniques there. What is the grounding techniques that is being suggested there? What kind?
Basically, it's about deep breath technique. So like deep breath technique using your stomach, not just using your throat there. And after that, uh, the not just deep breathing, but we count the breath. So like if you have like more than 25 breathing in 4 minutes, then that means you are under stress. But if you are stable, it will be like uh eight, yeah, eight breathings for 4 minutes, yeah. And also this is the technique of mindfulness, yeah. Like when people get panic attack, anxiety, usually they are like what is it? They're not connected with their present self, yeah. So they need to like make their senses, their five senses, to realize that there are no real threat around them. So like they need to mention five things you look, five things you smell, five things you hear, something like that, and describe it. So it will bring you to the reality. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Gusti. Okay, any questions from anyone? If not, since we have 5 more minutes, I would like to ask each one of you to, well, thanks to all of you, first of all. And I would like to ask each one of you to think about one word, one or two words that can come up with in your mind about today's session, or maybe something that you get inspired from the book or something like that, or from our discussion.
Interesting as always.
Interesting. Okay, Diaz, thank you.
Me listen again.
Listen again.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
could not hear
Oh,
all
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
presentation. I
Okay.
will listen to the recording.
That's good.
Yeah,
What about you, Donald?
yeah, for me it's diverse because we learn from so many different perspectives today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mita?
Change needs to slow down.
Okay. Well, thank you. But Wido, I know you have been like you started coming and then maybe with the connection and what you're doing, you can't really stay put in the Zoom. If you can hear us clearly now, will you say one or two things, Pak Wido?
Maybe the connection,
I
Kak
guess,
Imong. But
yeah.
will Kak Imong share the book?
Oh, we don't have enough time. No, we have only like 4 more minutes. Maybe for next week. But I do have the book here. Unsafe thinking. I just wanted to let you know. Uh, safe thinking is not enough, but this is not a new thing. But when the book was being written, I think in
Tell us
2018,
briefly, briefly.
it's
Briefly, what
probably
is it about?
what's that?
Briefly, what is it about?
Oh, and this is actually about how you can to be creative and bold when you need it most. Yeah. To be creative, you don't think safely. But everyone know that. However, a lot of times we are always going to the defaults, even when in the process of being creator,
The
we
outside the
use the
box
same thing.
things.
Pardon?
Thinking outside the box. Other word for thinking outside the box.
A part of it, but it's not all. Like this unsafe thinking that means that you dare to risk. Yeah. We'll discuss about this next time, perhaps. I think this book is good for me because I'm also teaching creative thinking now, so I have to
You have to
uh
be unsafe.
yeah,
Thinking.
explore a lot of the thinking skills. Anyway, well, thank you so much from me. The word is recalibrate. I think every time I attend this kind of sessions, it's helped me to recalibrate my thinking. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope to see you
Photo,
next
photo, photo.
month. Foto bersama dulu, yuk. Pak
Someone
Wido.
else take the photo, please, not me.
Mita? Oh, Pak Wido lagi nyetir ya?
Kak Imun, can you screen share it?
Oh, let's see. One, two, three. Okay, got it. Thank you so much,
See you
everyone.
next
Pak
month.
Wido,
Bye.
drive
Thank you,
safely.
Demo. Thank
Take
you,
care,
everyone.
everybody. Have a
Bye.
nice
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Let me close it. Uh,